I'm Stephanie. With my husband and our 2 boys, we've been in France with OM since 2010. Since May 2019, we haven't had anyone as a personnel officer here in France, and so in June 2020, I started learning the role, ready to help out in that position. So there are 2 parts of the personnel role here in France. I look after the French people that are interested in serving abroad on missions. So I'm the person that they would contact when they have an inquiry to help them find the role that they want to do, right the way through to their the whole process, their administrative process for joining, the training before they leave, and then once they're on the field, once they're serving in the country that they're going to be in, I'm the contact person to just make sure they're doing all right, to keep in touch with them while they're abroad, and I'll stay in touch with them right up to their return to France, where we debrief and explain and help them in their reintegration in back into the country. But the other part is also the side of welcoming people into the team here in France, because France is also a country that needs missionaries. So I'm the person who's in contact with the different countries to set a budget for the people coming, the orientation when they arrive, and helping them to integrate into life here in France. So for my role, I'm based mainly in the office, but we see that as still a missionary role, which is so important, because without these missionaries who are based in the office doing this administrative work, it wouldn't be possible to send these people to different countries around the world to perhaps be working much more in close contact with different people. As OM, we see the role of the church as so important in sending people abroad, but any particular church does not have all the resources that are needed to help and accompany people in the administrative things, in training people, because they haven't got the same experience. Whereas as OM, we have more experience in doing these different things. We've done it with many different people, and so we can help the church and work together in this way to send people. But to achieve that, we do need the people in the offices that can do this. And so this role of having this personnel person in the office is so important to help and support the French people who want to go on missions, and to have a contact in French with them when they're on the field, and perhaps their team around them only speaks English or whatever the local language is, but they can have someone who understands missions, who understands OM, who they can be in contact with back in France. The role of personnel officer is an essential role which is needed to happen in the office, but because we live in France, because we're surrounded by people in our day-to-day lives who don't know Jesus, there's also so many opportunities to share the good news with people around us, whether that's through our church or our neighbours. Because the team here in France is quite small, even as personnel officer or in an office role, there are also opportunities to actually get out and be part of other activities that are taking place, whether that's short-term outreaches or Teen Street. As in my role, I've had the opportunity to take part in many different short-term outreaches and have those chances to be on the street and to tell people about Jesus and about the good news that they need to hear. I'm quite gifted in doing administrative work, but what I love most about the personnel role is really the contact with people. I love being able to see that behind the email, behind the inquiry, there is a person who's really interested in serving God, and to kind of follow them through in the process, to get to meet them, to get to know them, and once they're on the field, to really be able to see how God is working through them, but also how God is working in them, and to be part of that is just so encouraging. So for the personnel officer role, it is essential to be a people person, someone who cares for and is interested in the people who apply. But it's also so important to be able to deal with the administrative tasks and to be able to cope with a multi-tasking situation where you have people at different stages in the process at different times, and you have to cope with the different needs for each person and to balance all of that. So we've been looking for someone to do this role of personnel officer since May 2019. And perhaps watching this video, you can think of someone who has all these gifts, all these qualities necessary to do this role, and also has a real heart for mission. Well, then share this need with them. And if it's not someone you know or not you, please pray that God will send someone so that we can continue to send people into the world to do his mission. So to finish, I just want to invite you to also pray for more French people to be motivated for missions. That the church will be behind them and really engaged in encouraging them in that mission. Please pray as well for our French people that are already abroad in what they are doing, and that they will continue to have the courage and the wisdom to persevere in the work that God has called them to.